Hi there, this is SAG's War on Women. I gotta jump on the climate change thing. I've gotta do it because let's face it, everyone's talking about it again. Now, I guess I'll start by saying when it comes to climate change, I am a climate science denier, also known as someone who is skeptic when it comes to man-made climate change. Now, I'm not saying the climate isn't changing, but when it comes down to it, I don't think people have as much to do with it as they think they do. You see, I think it takes a special kind of special with a special kind of personality disorder to believe that you can save the planet. Same applies to thinking that you could single-handedly destroy the planet. And you have to kind of look at things individually because everyone acts like they have their individual responsibility to the planet. Now, that being said, does that mean I'm going to grab some cans of Aquafina and go stand in my yard and spray it at the sky? No. Not that it would matter because we all know that the ozone layer doesn't have a huge hole in it anymore, but that's irrelevant at this point. Does that mean I'm going to take the oil the next time I change the oil in my truck and dump it in the creek in my yard? Of course not. I don't want to pollute the planet. I want to take care of the planet. But at the same time, I'm not going to act like every single thing that I do is causing damage to the planet. Climate change, man-made climate change. Here's the main issue I have with man-made climate change. It's women. Shocker, huh? Yeah, it's women. You see, right now, because they're doing this whole push again, we keep hearing, think of the children, think of the children, think of the children. When in reality, women don't want to think about the children. And they prove this because when this narrative, the think about the children narrative, isn't being pushed, there's article after article written almost every single fucking day talking about how climate change is terrible because it affects women more than anyone else, children included. It affects the women. Look it up. There's tons of articles online talking about this very thing. Man-made climate change. You know, I have a solution for man-made climate change. It's real simple. Real simple. But before I give you the solution, I just want you to think about a few things. Consumerism, carbon footprints, emissions. Okay? These are the main things that are going to cause the end of the planet, according to women. Women are 80% of consumers. Women are 80% of consumers. They're the ones who buy the most stuff. They're also the ones who waste the most stuff, believe it or not. If you look at all the landfills, well, most of that stuff is things that women have bought over time. Yeah, things women have bought over time. What about emissions? Vehicle emissions, because that's a big deal. You know, those damn vehicle emissions. Well, here's one thing that always works out to my advantage. Women love to bitch and complain about stuff, and I've done talks on unpaid labor. And you see, when women complain about things, it kind of works to my advantage at a later date, like today, because then I can mention how their complaints can be used against them. Car emissions is one of them, because you see, when women bitch about unpaid labor, they talk about how it's their responsibility to go to the stores and to drive Timmy to baseball practice and drive little Susie to dance class and to pick the kiddies up from school. Women do the majority of driving. Did you know women are also the majority of vehicle owners? I didn't know that either till a little bit ago, but I did look it up, and it's true. So women put out more emissions. Men don't put out that many emissions. They're at work. Their vehicles are parked for 8, 10, 12, up to 16 hours a day. Their vehicles aren't being driven. But what about truck drivers? What about truck drivers? Well, let's talk about truck drivers. Hell yeah, they put out emissions. But what do truck drivers do? They move product. They move product from point A to point B. And who's purchasing that product? You guessed it, women. So how do we solve this man-made climate change issue? Call it what it is. Woman-made climate change. It's woman-made climate change. Women are the ones who are impacting the environment and having the largest carbon footprint because they can't stop buying shit. The majority of that shit they don't need. And they drive to the stores to get that shit. And they have people driving the shit to the stores so they can get it. I think if we start referring to it as woman-made climate change, and the women start thinking, crap, we're going to get the blame for this one and we can't pull the victim card, maybe, just maybe, we'll stop having to hear about it until the science actually comes out. And that's that. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends. I'm Sag Novotny, and this is my war on women.